Hello and welcome to another episode of Underdog Investing. So today I want to give you 3 reasons why Bitcoin is potentially a great investment. If you're looking for something quite technical, then this is definitely not the right video for you, because the concepts that I'm going to go through are very simple and they use very simple maths. The reason why I want to share these with you is because these are the things that gave me the conviction to put a small amount into Bitcoin. And so far it's been very rewarding, so I just want to share with you, and I hope that it can help your thought process when it comes to investing in something like Bitcoin. So the first reason is limited supply. Now Bitcoin is a digital currency, so it has its own code or set of instructions. One of these instructions is called the halving. And basically what the halving is that around every 4 years, the amount of Bitcoin that can be created is halved. So this leads to an ever reducing supply of Bitcoin. And the maximum amount of Bitcoin that will ever be created is 21 million. And it's estimated that this amount will be created by the year 2140, so in about 120 years time. And currently the amount of Bitcoin we have in circulation is about 18.5 million, with about 3.5 million which is lost forever. Now if I just do some quite simple maths, I can show you how the ever reducing supply creation of Bitcoin versus the ever increasing supply creation of fiat currency or paper money can lead to an increased price of Bitcoin. So let's say, for example, if there was $1 in the world and if there was 1 Bitcoin in the world, this would mean that 1 Bitcoin would cost $1. Whereas if you had $2 for every 1 Bitcoin, now suddenly Bitcoin costs $2. So as you can see, Bitcoin supply is limited, dollar supply increasing, that increases the cost of Bitcoin. Now, if we look at this other example, a similar thing is true for the amount of people on Earth. This is not something that's looked at very often, but actually the population is growing at quite a fast rate. So for example, if there was 1 Bitcoin for every person, then every person would have 1 Bitcoin. But suddenly if there was 2 people for every 1 Bitcoin, now suddenly each person would only have 0.5 Bitcoins. Now if we combine the fact that the supply of Bitcoin is becoming ever so limited, and the amount of people is growing and the amount of money is growing, you can see how the Bitcoin price can continue to rise from here. So that's the first concept. Moving on to the second one. This second concept is basically, can Bitcoin replace gold? And a lot of people call Bitcoin the digital gold. And if you look at the market cap of gold, you can see that it's $9 trillion. Whereas if you look at the market cap of Bitcoin, it's $730 billion. Now that basically makes every Bitcoin $39,000. But if we again do some simple maths, we can see that if Bitcoin's market cap of $730 billion ever reaches $9 trillion, then the price of Bitcoin would go from $39,000 to $480,000. Now that is a 1,200% increase. So that's definitely something to think about. Now the third one is probably one of the most interesting ones, is institutional investors. Now these are the true hodlers. What hodl basically means is hold on to their life. And you've got 2 types of investors. There's institutional investors and there's retail investors. I would say retail investors are more emotionally driven, so they're more susceptible to panic selling when the price dips. And I think that's pretty much what happened in 2017 when the price of Bitcoin rallied like crazy and then it crashed like crazy as well. But I think if with this particular rally, now that we've got institutional investors, these guys are less likely to sell, and therefore the price of Bitcoin is likely to be much more stable. Let me just give you some examples. Now, Paul Tudor Jones is a hedge fund manager and he's a billionaire himself. He's actually put almost 2% of his assets into Bitcoin. And he calls it a great speculation. Square, which is a great company, has put 50 million US dollars into Bitcoin. 50 million US dollars is around 1% of Square's total assets. MicroStrategy is also another great billion-dollar company. If you have a look here, they've purchased around 70,470 Bitcoins, which are now valued at more than 2.6 billion US dollars. More recently, on the 4th of January 2021, a Singaporean hedge fund has bought $1.3 billion worth of stock in the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. And this is basically an indirect way to purchase Bitcoin. So as you can see, institutional investors are actually purchasing Bitcoin now. And that's a very reassuring sign that Bitcoin is likely to be a lot less volatile than the previous cycle. And there are risks involved in purchasing something like Bitcoin, but I think it's definitely worth a small amount in your portfolio just because of the potential upside. Now, I just want to finish off with two quotes. So both of them are from Peter Lynch. He's a legendary investor. The first one is, all the math you need in the stock market you get in the 4th grade. Now, I think everything that we've gone through now have been very simple math, and they've definitely helped me, and I hope that it helps you. And the final quote is, the simpler it is, the better I like it. Thank you very much. If you enjoyed that video, please like and subscribe. And if there's anything you want to discuss or ask me, please comment. And if you found it useful, please share the video. Thank you very much.